As we continue our course today, I'd like to touch on a brief topic that is very important for meditators and one that we oftentimes struggle with. And that is how to find time to meditate in our busy schedules and our busy life. So there's three components of this topic that I'd like to touch on. The first is the importance of scheduling your meditation as a priority. Most of us work a standard work schedule, oftentimes from 8 or 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. And the bulk of our day is immersed in whatever our work is. But many of us also have other commitments that are outside of that time frame, that take our mornings and our evenings, which may be volunteer work, family commitments, extracurricular activities that are important, exercise, and various other activities. These are all important. And yet, it's very important that we find time for a contemplative life and a meditative practice. Typically, most people find that morning and evening is the most suitable time frame to schedule meditation. And I find in my own practice that morning tends to be the most suitable. But it does require me to get up early in the morning so that these other commitments don't interfere with that. So morning time, I would recommend, is a time to begin your practice of meditation at home. However, you may find that you're not a morning person, and that doesn't work. Certainly you can meditate at any other point throughout the day. But again, because of most people's work schedules, the evening might be more suitable. The challenge with the evening is, of course, we have dinner commitments and family commitments, but also as our day runs further, we get tired. And so there's more of a risk of becoming sleepy. So it's important to schedule this meditation practice accordingly in the morning or the evening to begin. And it doesn't have to be for long periods of time as you start. Because we're busy, scheduling an hour of meditation every morning and night is sometimes unreasonable. And so you can be flexible. For example, myself, I practice longer in the morning when I have more availability, and I have a very short practice in the evening, oftentimes because I'm getting sleepy. The second part of scheduling it as a priority is to really evaluate your time wasters. There's so much that dominates our lives of work and family and extracurricular activities that are important, but there's a lot of things that are not important that we don't realize. I find that there's a very useful tool that I borrowed from kind of a past bestseller, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in that book, he identified how we typically spend our lives. And this is a chart that I like to show beginning meditators so they can begin to evaluate how they are spending their time, because one of the largest issues they have is I don't have time. So this is a helpful sheet that can be handed out. And let me just briefly explain this. So this quadrant is broken down into two areas. One, activities that are urgent or non-urgent. And on the other side here, activities that are important and not important. So you go to important activities that are urgent. Those typically are crises or very, very pressing issues that demand our immediate attention. It could be a medical issue. It could be a major work deadline. It could be a deep, immediate family need we have to address. That is something we need to act upon. It's important and urgent. Down below that is urgent but not important. Now, these are situations in which we get phone calls while we're doing something, that we feel we need to answer this call and respond to some sort of request because we don't know if it's going to be a crisis or a major issue that is important. So we answer the phone calls, or we're responding to reports at work, or we're responding to mail, or we're attending some meetings that aren't very important but that are certainly required as part of our lives. You move over here to not important and not urgent, and those are where our time wasters are. So there's not an urgency to it, and they're really not that important. And then those include things that are very trivial, busy work, sometimes email, Facebook connections, pleasant activities that are intended to comfort us, that may be helpful, but are certainly shouldn't take the place of these other activities that are much more important. This can take shape in our lives without us even being aware. And I'll give you an example in my own life. Meditation, as I scheduled meditation, for example, in my morning time, one of my routines was I'd wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do is I click on my email or check my Facebook. And it became a habit. And so what I do is I get on there, and I'm wanting to just kind of see what's going on, get some information, and in some cases entertaining myself starting off the day. Well, is that really important? And is it really urgent? No. That's a major time waster that in many cases will actually take me out of the mindset for meditation. So I found that this not important, not urgent piece needed to be reevaluated and adjusted in my life. We go up above there to the square that is not urgent, so they're not crisis issues, but they're incredibly important. And that's where meditation comes into play. And that is where we need to focus some of our proactive activities, whether that be exercise, whether that be healthy diet and food preparation, but also meditation, to really be promoting the contemplative life. So this chart is very, very helpful to sit down. I usually give this to my students as a guideline, but I give them a blank document so they can begin to fill in their own sort of schedule and begin to evaluate where are they spending most of their time. So that's a very helpful tool. The second tool that I use that I think is very helpful is provided by Ananda Sangha Worldwide. And this is a sample Sangha chart. And what I like about this is it lists the week or the days of the week and the times, AM or PM. And then it lists a variety of spiritual practices. Of course, one of them being meditation. But as you can see, there's yoga, there's prayer, there's chanting, the Hong Sau practice, silence, visualizations, affirmations, and other. And so this can be really helpful to begin to chart how you're spending your time and also begin to realize which days you might find are the most difficult to be meditating. And you begin charting it out and finding various gaps. This also helps to hold one accountable. You begin to see whether you are following through on those commitments, on the things that are important but not urgent. So scheduling it as a priority is key. The second important piece is integrating your meditation practice throughout the day. And I should say not just your meditation practice, but really using your entire day to promote a contemplative mindset. And there's a few things you can do to do that. Number one is using visual aids, reminders, because nearly all of us, when we get immersed in our work, we get intensely involved in it, and oftentimes we're not even thinking about meditation or taking some time even to breathe deeply. And so I find that visual aids can come in very simple, very practical forms. So for example, I have a wrist prayer mala, or any sort of prayer beads would work, that goes around the wrist. And I wear this throughout my day, periodically throughout the week, as reminders. And so when I see this, I realize, oh, you know what, I can take a few moments and utilize this for meditation or a chant or some sort of affirmation. I also have these fun little wristbands that can also serve as reminders. You could even have an affirmation customized on this. And I wear this every single day around my wrist as a reminder. And so when I'm working, I occasionally glance at this, and it helps me to remember, hey, take a few moments to breathe deeply. Take a few moments to center. Take a few minutes to meditate. And that can be incredibly helpful. The second thing is to find times throughout the day where you're normally taking some sort of break. however brief it might be. I find that meal times are a great opportunity for this. Most of us are taking time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and primarily when we're at work, lunchtime, we all get some sort of a lunch break. I like to use this time as a way to take a few moments to either share gratitude in a prayer, but also to take time to meditate for 5 or 10 minutes prior to enjoying my lunch meal. So that's a time frame that typically employers will provide you that time off to get a lunch or to take some sort of break. Use it for meditation. Discipline yourself to do so. I find also that an affirmation or a mantra can be a great way of promoting a contemplative mindset throughout your day. There's times that I'll be working in some sort of physical component of my work. And while I'm doing that, I can be chanting a mantra, or I can be using an affirmation to again stimulate a more contemplative practice within my work. Other things you can do is use your phone alarm or some sort of watch alarm that signals periodically throughout your day to take a few moments to breathe deeply or to meditate. It's not unlike what the Western monastic tradition uses, which is your daily offices. And in a monastery, the bell rings and people gather and they take their time, sometimes 5 times, sometimes 7 times throughout the entire day. And we can also implement that same sort of practice, albeit in a briefer capacity, throughout our workday. But it's really important as we integrate this throughout our day to remember that our active life is an expression of our inward state. That our work and our meditation are not separate things. They should be integrated as a whole, deep living and not segregated. The third thing is very brief, and that is to make sure that we avoid personal shame or judgment, and that we try and try again. Every day's a new day. I can tell you every single week I struggle and I miss meditation, and I find my initial response is to sort of beat myself up personally about it. But when I do so, it brings me into more of a guilt or a shame state or providing personal judgment, and that does not help. And I think that being able to soften that judgment is important. Although we do want to make sure that we have something to hold us accountable to continue our meditation practice. So those are some key points that I believe are important to maintain meditation as part of a busy lifestyle. I can certainly relate to it. I've used practices that have been incredibly helpful, and I'm more than willing to discuss some more of these or to provide these handouts to you after the course to aid you in bringing meditation into the busy life. So let's go ahead and end with a brief Hong Sau meditation. So let's go ahead and get in our posture with your spine straight, hands and palms upturned, hands placed at the intersection of the thighs and the abdomen. And gently close your eyes and breathe. Just take some natural breaths. And with your eyes gently closed, make sure they're uplifted towards the spiritual eye. Now, as part of our relaxation, we are going to move into our tense and release double breath. And we'll do 2 of these. So let's go ahead and with our double breath, let's breathe in. Tense the entire body. Feel the energy. And release. One more time. Tense. And release. Take a couple of natural breaths. Relax the entire body. let's move in to our equal count breathing. With the count of 5, I will snap the cadence, and we'll do this twice. So let's go ahead and inhale, hold, and release. One more time. Inhale. Hold. And release. Now return to your natural breath. Body relaxed, eyes gently upturned towards the spiritual eye. Spine straight, chin parallel with the floor. And as you breathe naturally, bring your awareness to the breath entering the nostrils. Bring your awareness to the breath entering the nostrils and ending at the point in which your inhale transitions to exhale. And just watch the breath without controlling it in any way. Now we are going to gently attach the Hong Sa mantra to our breath. As you breathe in, silently, mentally, repeat Hong. And as you exhale, silently and mentally, repeat Sa. With your natural breath, your awareness and the breath entering the nostrils, with your quiet repeat of the Hong Sa method, enter into stillness and deep concentration. Now let's take one deep inhale with 3 soft, full exhales as we enter into a deeper silence and deeper stillness. Hold that space at the end of your exhale for a moment of deep stillness and breathlessness. Enter into that space of peace. Letting go of the breath, letting go of your awareness of the breath and the mantra. Continue to fall into deep stillness with your eyes gently upturned towards the spiritual eye. Now take a deep inhale with a nice full exhale. Gently open your eyes. Come back to the room. Namaste.